Hey, today we're going to be making some bomb meatball subs. Subway? I think not. This is better. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so this is what we're going to be using. We're using these beef meatballs you get from Sam's Club. Never had these before. These are really, really good. All I'm going to do with these, I'm going to air fry them and get a nice little crust on the outside of them, just a little bit of texture before we add them into our homemade sauce we're going to be using. I have a can of crushed tomatoes here with basil. I have a can of diced tomatoes, fire roasted diced tomatoes. I have a little Italian seasoning, some minced garlic, onion, bell pepper. I have a baguette here we're going to be using for the bread. We're definitely going to be adding salt and pepper, some onion or garlic powder, and a little bit of sugar to tone down the bitterness of the tomatoes or whatnot. But let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with our sauce first, again with the meatballs. All we're doing is putting them in the air fryer for about 15 minutes or so before we put them in the sauce in order for everything to come together. So we'll be back in. All right, family, so we're going to be using our electric skillet today, and I'm just going to be putting my green pepper and onion in the skillet and just trying to get it nice and translucent, get a nice head start on it. I never like to cook anything, if possible, with raw onion or green pepper. I always give them a head start first. That's just my particular taste, but you don't have to if you don't want to. We're going to be adding a little bit of salt to our vegetables to kind of help soften them up some, as well as some black pepper. And again, we're just going to cook them off for a few minutes. All right, so we've allowed our veggies to go for about 2 or 3 minutes. Now we're going to go ahead and add in some Italian seasoning. We're also going to add in some minced garlic and continue to let it go. I like to add in our Italian seasoning. Now this is dry Italian seasoning, so putting it in there with our vegetables allows it to wake up a little bit and kind of brings those flavors out a little bit more, as well as the minced garlic. All right, so we've allowed this to go a few minutes as well. Now we're going to add in our crushed tomatoes. This is crushed tomatoes with basil. You can use kind of whatever kind of crushed tomatoes you like. I kind of like this brand, so we're just going to go ahead and add that into our skillet as well and begin to simmer our tomatoes along with our veggies and our seasonings that we've added to it. This is going to be a really, really quick process, a really quick recipe, but it's going to taste really, really good. You do want to cook this sauce down some to cook some of that bitter can flavor out. We're also going to add in a little bit of sugar to help with that as well. Not a ton, but a little bit, and we're going to also add in a can of diced tomatoes. Now this is definitely optional. We're using some fire roasted diced tomatoes. I like that little bit of flavor from the fire roasted kind, but you don't have to use fire roasted. You can use the Italian style, or you can just omit them altogether. I like to have a little bit of a chunkiness to the sauce when I'm making meatball subs. So, but it's, again, this is kind of up to you, totally your call. So now we're just going to go ahead and put a lid on this bad boy and just allow it to simmer down for a few minutes. Meatballs are easy peasy. We're just going in the air fryer, letting them go for about 10 to 12 minutes before we add them to the sauce. All right, so we've allowed our sauce to cook now. It's been cooking now for a better part of 15 to 20 minutes. And you can see how it's starting to come together really well. It looks really good right now. Now, you don't have to add sugar to it if you don't want to. Like I said, it has a little bit of that bitter raw note to it. So I do like to add just a little bit of sugar to cut through that. Or if you can use honey, or you can use any type of sweetener for real that's going to help you cut through that. But we're just using regular granulated sugar today. I'm using a couple tablespoons worth, but just go to your taste, whatever suits your palate the best. And I like to add in some complete seasoning. This is one of my go-tos. This is the generic version of complete. This is called Saison Perfecta. I get this from Save-A-Lot. If you don't have a Save-A-Lot, then get complete or whatever that's kind of like an equivalent to it. But it just adds a really nice flavor, and I like to add it to a lot of my pasta dishes and things of that nature. Gonna add a little bit more black pepper in, and it's kind of season it up to your taste before we add in our meatballs. All right, guys, one of the final things I'm going to do as far as seasoning, I'm going to add to my sauce is crushed red pepper. Totally optional, but I do like a little bit of a kick to the sauce. You don't want it, don't add it. So now we've allowed this sauce. The sauce now has been simmering for about 30 minutes. So now we're going to go with add in our meatballs. You can see how it's starting to thicken up some, and it's really flavorful. It's ready. You could actually use this as pasta sauce as well. But again, this is going to be some bomb sauce for our meatballs. You can see we have a nice little color on them from the air fryer, and we're just going to put these bad boys right in the sauce and allow them to simmer for a little while before we build our sandwiches. So I'm going to probably allow these meatballs to simmer in our sauce for about 20 minutes or so, give or take a few minutes, but roughly 20 minutes, to allow everything to come together, for the meatballs to soften up a little bit, and for the sauce to become incorporated with everything before we make our sandwiches. All right, guys, so now let's build these sandwiches. We allowed those meatballs to simmer for about 15 to 20. Everything is delicious and coming together perfectly. So now I have some French bread here that we've cut, and I'm actually going to put these in our toaster oven as well to toast everything up. So what we're going to do, I'm going to make what they call, similar to the Boss meatball sub from Subway, but this is my version, which is a little bit better in my opinion because we have a little more flavor. But nevertheless, we're going to build our sandwiches. We're just going to pile some meatballs up into our bread, and these two are going to be for my kids, so I'm going to be adding cheese to these. The one I make for myself, I'm not going to add any cheese at all, but I'm adding pepper jack cheese and pepperoni to each one of the sandwiches. I cut the pepper jack cheese into triangles, and it's added a slice per sandwich. It's a fairly large piece of cheese, so that's why I was able to cut it in the triangles and add it to the sandwiches. Then we're going to be adding in some mini pepperonis on top, and then they're going to be going into our toaster oven for about 2 minutes or so to toast everything up, melt the cheese, toast our bread, and to get everything incorporated really well. I love a saucy meatball sub. I love it when it's piping hot, and this thing is going to be the bomb. All right, guys, so we've got our sandwiches all put together, and we're going to go into this toaster oven for about 2 to 3 minutes on toast. And here's the finished product. You can see how that cheese is melted, how that pepperoni is starting to curl up and this soak into the cheese and the bread and the rest of the meat. These sandwiches are going to be so good. The bread is softened up and toasted. Just get a good look at that. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the recipe. Give those meatballs a shot. They're so versatile. You can make lots of different food with them and have some great recipes just like this sandwich we just made today. Till the next time, we'll see you around. God bless you. Have a great day.